What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brandon from Woodworks. In today's video, we're going to be going over a budget-friendly woodworkers gift guide. I know there's a bunch of these videos out there on the internet, but I figured I would try to make mine a little bit different. A lot of people that are woodworkers already have a lot of tools, so I tried to pick some things that were kind of unique, or if they already have them, they're things that you can always use more of. So let's jump right into it. All right, the first one I want to start out with is this Rockler glue bottle applicator kit. So it basically comes with a glue bottle and a bunch of different attachments. So you have your glue brush, glue roller, center line kind of gauge deal, regular tip with the sharper point, and then it has a flat point tip as well, plus the funnel to fill the bottle. So I use this all the time. It's really good for getting glue in like biscuit joints and rolling onto cutting board edges or big table glue ups, anything like that. It really helps spread the glue out evenly, and this is a great choice for any woodworker in your life. So the second product is also a Rockler product. This video is not sponsored, but it is just a great product and I like it a lot. The Rockler Silicone Glue Mat. These are sort of expensive, I guess, but I mean, you really only need to use one unless you rip it like forever. It'll last you a long time. And it's really a bench saver. So you can get glue, epoxy, stain, whatever you want on this thing. And the glue and epoxy and any kind of adhesive usually just pull right off because it's silicone. And they also have these little ribs on the edges. So if you want to get more than one, you can kind of interlock them and they can pretty much just line your whole bench and protect the top whenever you're doing anything that's gonna stick or stain the bench. So another good choice. The third thing is something that you don't use a whole lot, but when you do need it, it comes in super handy, and that is a digital angle finder. I use this thing every time I set up my table saw, miter saw, joiner, check the joiner fence. I do always check it against a square, and so far it's been dead on every single time. And it's just a super fast way to know that you're gonna get a nice accurate cut or joint or whatever you are using it on. Let's cut to some footage and I'll show you how to use it. The thing I use mine the most for is just making sure my table saw blade is 90 degrees to the bed of the table saw. You can do this by zeroing it out on the bed and then sticking it on the blade and making sure that it hits 90 degrees. I use it for any other angle as well, especially 45s. You can also use it to check your joiner fence. Just zero it out on the bed and then stick it to the fence and make sure it's at 90. I also use it on my miter saw, track saw, and anything else you want to make sure is square. So there's just some of the ways that I use it. It's got endless possibilities realistically. You could use it in woodworking, obviously, metalworking, DIY around the house. I even know people that use it in the automotive industry for different things. So this is another great option for a woodworker, metalworker, or just DIYer in your life. And they're not really that expensive. You can get them at a box store, or I will leave links to this and all the other stuff in the description below for you guys to check out, and it'll just send you right to it. If you guys have been following the channel a while, you'll remember the beginner tools video I did, and I included this moisture meter, and I will continue to recommend this forever. I use this thing all the time. It's extremely important to know the moisture content of the wood you're using. You don't want to use wet wood because it will warp and crack. And if you've been doing woodworking any amount of time, you know what I'm talking about. You can't really have too many of these either. So even if your gift receiver has one, couple's okay. You know, I have a few of these myself. I have one in my truck, one in the tool bag, one in the toolbox here. I have one at work. Just helps to have one on hand to check the content of any wood. Super easy to use, especially this one is a pinless one. You just set it on the wood. It tells you the moisture content on the screen. It even has a little gauge saying dry to wet and different modes. You can use it on drywall, wood, a bunch of different substrates. So highly recommend one of these. Let me show you what it looks like when I'm using it. It's pretty simple. You just turn it on, make the selection for the substrate you're going to be using it on, and just set it down. I actually didn't have any green lumber laying around, but I wanted to make sure you guys saw how this thing worked, so I sprayed some water on this plywood, and then when I run the moisture meter over the wet part, you'll see the difference. The fourth thing I'm not sure a ton of people know about, I always thought you just had to buy an angle drill, but I found this 90-degree drill attachment, and this thing has saved me several times. Getting in tight spaces, especially with like pocket holes when you're trying to do small, actually this right here, I used it on because these small boxes, I couldn't get the whole drill in there to drill in the pocket hole screw. So I used this, and you can get these other bits that are not like the Craig ones. They're shorter, but they're still square tips. So you can use these on the pocket holes as well. And it's just really great to get into tight spaces. Something else any woodworker can use more of is clamps. These ratcheting hand clamps come in really handy in the shop. Just grab them real quick. You can hold stuff down around your workbench. They're good for holding small pieces, and you can get them fairly cheap. These are made by Pony Jorgensen. That's really all I use, as you can see by the wall behind me. The F-style clamps are also a good choice. Actually, I should have just grabbed these. These are actually my favorite ones. They're one-handed use. You can take this off, flip it around, use it as a spreader. And they're just super easy to use. These are the easy hold ones. I'll link these below as well, but clamps are always a good option. So the last but certainly not least thing on my list is something that pretty much everybody uses from time to time, and that is a tape measure. However, I can never find one. I had to search for a while actually to find these two. I have a couple different options here. This one's actually my favorite. It is the Milwaukee Auto Lock. It locks automatically, hence the name, and then you just push the button to reel it in. I don't particularly care for the locking slider deal because it just seems to take more time to do. And I prefer the 16-foot ones as a woodworker because I don't need to, I'm not building a house, I don't need 25 feet. So that one's really good. But there's also some specialty tape measures out there. Fast Cap makes a few different ones. They're pretty cool. They got a little spot on the front where you can mark your measurements down. They have a built-in pencil sharpener, and this particular one has a flat tape. So it's actually made for plywood. So when you're rolling it out on plywood, it just sits flat rather than trying to rock or fall over like a regular tape measure. And it has inches plus millimeters on it, so it's pretty universal. This does have the sliding lock, but it also has a little button on the bottom, so you can push it and hold it if you need, or you can actually push down on the tape when it's on a piece of wood and it'll hold it there as well. So that's my gift guide, guys. I hope this helped out a lot. If it did, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, I'll leave links to all this stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hope you have a good holiday.